Greetings. This video is in preparation for giving a talk to type 1 diabetics who are having a rough time managing their condition. As it's dealing largely with emotions, it can also be applied to people without the condition. This will be a painful conversation and it might not apply to everyone. Really, it's for the people it resonates with and their consultants. The aim here is with exploring we can gain a better awareness and understanding of what the diabetic is going through. No fault of the doctors. They are trying to treat an illness with logical steps. The trouble I feel is, with brief consultations, it glances over the patient's depths of emotion. And to be fair, it's not quite in the consultant's field of expertise. This is in the realm of therapy. With only a consultant, this can leave the patient feeling they aren't being seen as a complete person, and they want the pain of their soul to be seen. Therapy, if chosen, will need to be prepared to deep dive for the patient to then be able to address their emotional needs. For the struggling diabetic, this is trauma they are dealing with. Optimistic words of encouragement sadly won't be enough, and likely isn't what the patient is looking for. Treating the symptoms and not the problem. Directions given by doctors can feel dehumanizing, with a sense of handing over control the patient has already established for themselves. Failing to follow the doctor's advice can create feelings of guilt or shame, on top of failure. Logically for the doctor it might not make much sense, but this isn't about logic, it's about emotion. It doesn't make much logical sense for the patient either. They know they should be taking better care of themselves, and there is an extensive amount of support available. However, the more help is offered, or the more people try to understand and show compassion, it doesn't really help the diabetic. It is the diabetic who needs to make those connections matter, which they'll find hard to do if their esteem is low. The result is compassion fuels self-pity, and what the diabetic is really looking for is sympathy. You can't love someone back to health, but you can give them a shoulder. From the patient's point of view, how could people understand when they don't understand themselves? In some ways, they don't want to be understood. Exposing true feelings creates vulnerability. Nor do they want to feel responsible for burdening bystanders with their distress. With self-esteem so low, the diabetic may feel like they've let the doctor down more than they've let themselves down. Likewise, if the blood results come back good, the patient can feel elated, having pleased the parental figure, which then allows the patient to feel happier with themselves. Of course, the doctor probably doesn't see it like this. Parents direct care for their children. We can note here, the diabetic, try as they might, isn't able to regulate their emotions effectively on their own. Self-medicate. This private world creates a sense of speciality they can feel they can just about manage, and it's something they can hold on to for stability. A damaged sense of self can mean they attach to the problem as their identity. The patient splits and switch places. I am the problem which the diabetes has. This is soul-destroying, preventing the self from being unified. By separating, the illness can't hurt the individual as much. They create distance from the pain. The pain is not from the diabetes, it is from the self they are trying to get away from. There is an incentive reason to then be evasive or avoidant to treatment. If the problem allows existence, then fixing the problem in effect forces the individual to confront the pain that the self is carrying. To them, this is a threat to survival. Although distant from the problem, there is still a need for it. The self is where they can store the pain. Please don't take my pain away. It's all I have, and it means everything to me. The diabetic sinks further into a cage of despair that they now call home. The world is reduced and perceived as a mentally safer environment. This might be strange to grasp, but comfort can be found in solitude and familiarity. With frustration, a push-pull dynamic forms. They want help. Being alone in a world of pain and problems is torment, but are scared of what help would look like. Help that is offered is pushed away in defense as inappropriate for the situation they're in. Treatment becomes an opponent instead of a solution. If by some degree control of their condition does happen, it is an effort of continually bashing themselves into compliance with self-hate, rather than through a desire and motivation of self-love. Managing or healing becomes a painful experience all of its own. Additionally, resentment is directed at themselves for even wanting to improve. Feeling guilty. They feel wrong and punish themselves for just thinking about it. They deny themselves health and also happiness to remain in a position of needing to be cared for. This is how they medicate the pain. Learned helplessness. With it all getting too much, the patient, unable to process their emotions, may minimize problems as superficial or trivial, and their feelings are labeled as undeserving of such attention, to better mask the problem. This allows a problem to persist without the need of drastic intervention. Here we are seeing parts of denial. However which way they look at it, it is confronted with pain. So the way the solution is resolved is by what becomes most comfortable and least painful, and is reached subconsciously based on emotions. Unfortunately, by being immersed in so much emotion, they lose awareness, which helps explain why it could be hard for them to express and pinpoint what's going on, even if they're trying to be open and honest. A narrative forms to create context, meaning, and purpose, to justify and validate what is being experienced. It becomes ingrained and cyclic, which is intended to stifle progress. Going in circles with denial becomes predictable and helps to better build a false sense of stability. Even though this inner world is painful, they do not want to abandon it. Dreaming of a life that could have been without pain begins to creep in. Hope is then part of the narrative to retrieve sympathy. Feeling powerless feeds into victimhood and deflects having to take on responsibility. Thoughts of the past are felt with regret to increase the sadness, boost the sympathy, and pull in attention. The diabetic wants to be taken care of and feel loved. They become more withdrawn, waiting to be saved, and switch into self-preservation mode, doing minimal just to survive day to day. Trying to do more, even if possible with this mindset, feels counterintuitive and brings additional anxiety. They fear climbing, believing they'll fall from a greater height. So why climb? They then become more skilled at self-sabotage and find excuses and reasons as to why they aren't making progress. Trying to correct this carefully woven narrative and break the cycle will thus be extremely challenging because it's important for them not to let it go. We can now see before we even get to treat the diabetes, there are massive core injuries that need to be addressed. I'll leave it here for now. My apologies. There are many large areas of complexity which profoundly shape the mind that can't be covered in just one video. This is only scratching the surface. The situation can improve the more we explore. I'd appreciate some feedback on this introduction, not just from diabetics, but if you found it helpful in other applications. Thank you for listening.